So I'm home for a couple days. I don't have a whole lot of time. My daughter's birthday is, her party's tomorrow. So this is gonna be impossible to paint when it's starting to get cold, 60s. So I wanna get it painted while it's still 70 degrees outside. But I'm gonna get to work and I'll show you what I'm doing after it's done so I can get this actually done. Okay. Now that we don't have a ton of sun glare, I think that's pretty damn close. I think I showed earlier. The rear tailgate was a much closer match to that, so it's fine. I'm gonna start doing a little bit of body work at nighttime. Tear this stuff off here. This is just a stupid patch panel. I can make a better patch than that. So do that. Grind this down. Cut it out. Cut this out. Instead of buying new ones and trying to color match the whole thing, I guess, I don't know, save me $300 and I can just use some scrap metal that I've got sitting around. Here's the driver's side. Got that spot there that I ground down, but pretty much the exact same deal. So just flat space that collects a bunch of shit. Forgot about this section back here too by the gas tank, or the gas fill rather. Yeah, it looks pretty crusty. I think we're gonna have to buzz that off and see just what we're dealing with here. The problem is somebody may have done like some pretty shoddy body work. They either didn't clean up this rust or the rust actually came back through and is now bubbling the fiberglass or Bondo that they used. What you're supposed to do is when you do this stuff and repair it and make it all nice and shiny and painted perfectly, come back through with an oil gun, back through here, spray down in there. Okay, rust reformer is on everything. I came back with the grinder and ground down these rivets a little bit further. I dug into the paint a little bit. That's all good because all this is going to get fiberglassed from here down and then smoothed out with glass. I had to get in here and make these all flat so they didn't hit my spreader. But I'm going to hit those again with rust reformer, let that dry overnight, and then we can start laying in some fiberglass tomorrow. Okay, I thought about this a little bit last night. I thought about making a patch panel and stuff, but I think I can make this work with what it is. This rust reformer is pretty well cured. It's cured enough for me to put fiberglass on here to let sit for a long time. So I'm going to glass over top all this stuff, try to do this as best as I can. I wish I had a larger spreader to make that more flat and even, but it is what it is. I'll just work it later. Same thing with over here, glass this. This might actually be a little bit easier to fill in since there's more stuff behind it. But I'll make that work and mix up some glass here and let it sit for a while. Okay, we got our first layers on. Just filled all that in. I'm gonna have to come back and fill this in, or honestly, I might just cut that off there. Mainly worried about making this nice and flat and neat because this will get covered anyways the whole way up. I'm going to come back a little bit, sand all that down once it's fully dry. This one's going to give me a little bit of problems, so I might tear this up and shove it up in here just to have a backer, and then come back and pull that out later. Needs something to stick to or else it's just going to fall down. It's too big of a hole. Okay, we got this side. I got this in here just for my backer, and I'm going to leave that in there until this gets just a little bit hard, and then we should be able to pull that out. Got that all done. Come back in here and just sand that, make it real nice. I caked it on there. We're really going to take all this off to make it super flat, and then go back over it with a little bit of glass, or a little bit of icing. We're going to go back over that with a little bit of icing when I'm done. Make it all super smooth. Okay, we got all this done. This is going to take multiple coats, I'm sure, because I had a lot to fill in there. So once this is, yeah, I could probably take that filler plate out now, my cardboard in the back. And then this stuff over here. This might be fine. That is going to take multiple coats to get it nice and flat. But we'll make it work. Okay, I think I put 60 grit on here. This is not ideal for doing body work, but I've had this thing for like 11 years. So I use that to do my Chevy truck in California. So I knocked this down. This needs to be leveled out now, but I knocked it down to the point where I'm starting to see the places that I filled in for my body work. So I just need to get this kind of flat with my hand here. Set the sander up here and just kind of let it eat and do its thing. Get it nice and flat along with the factory lines of the fenders, and then I'll do the other side, which is going to take a lot of work. I'm making progress. Look at this good kid just sitting there chilling, watching me. So almost done here. I started to actually dip down into my body work, so we're gonna have to do another coat of Duraglass on top of here. This place especially, because I was trying to get this off in the corner, which I didn't mean to put on there. But right here, there's a dip, and that needs to be completely flat. So I need to mark my points about where I'm need to go with my sander. It's actually an up ridge on there anyway, so maybe I need to hit that with a hammer, kind of knock that stuff down so the glass can sit flat. It's really hard using the sander, but I've managed so far. Yeah, this is probably the worst part of it. Hi. Okay. This is probably the worst part of it. It's dip down. That's okay. I think I just need to glass this whole thing and kind of blend it. Keep that super flat. This is the best part, but I blew through right there. It's pretty thin. But this is like, honestly, you could probably paint this right now and it would look fine. It's super flat. This side, same deal. I got some high spots and whatnot here, so I think right there is a high spot where we found with our sander. So have to glass from like there over. I just do one thing. It's hard to make sure you got straight lines though. Okay, so I had to retire my DeWalt unit because the pad fell off. I don't know if I can fix that. But I went and bought a Harbor Freight Special Bauer unit. Should work good. This one you can change the speed on it, so that's cool. Maybe will help us in our sanding, but here's what we got for this. Second coat, I'm going to knock that down and do a little bit of a lighter job on it, and then we can finish it off with the icing. But let me knock this down, get it mostly flat, and then we might actually go back over it with the air board file that I have. That would make this super flat. This unit is way quieter. So I can actually come out here and sand shit at nighttime at like midnight. Nobody will ever hear anything. That's awesome. And it seems to be working better too. So far I'm happy. Here's the passenger side. Big old section of rust that we cut out. And here's the panel that we ended up welding in place, all brand new. And the driver's side that we ended up cutting out. And the new panel that we put into place turned out really, really good and made for a really nice, strong surface for the body. Okay, so we got the Jeep back in here. We're going to lay down icing now. Icing is, what I'm using is Napa's stuff. So it basically looks like icing on a cake. It goes on super thin. Ideally, you want this to fill up less than a space of a credit card. So we're not trying to fill in a bunch of like huge dips, but we're just trying to make all this surface even. So what I'm going to do is basically coat from here all the way into here, and then come around and all the way into here, just to make that all one flush surface. And I want to keep the integrity of the flatness of here to here. So we're basically going to be running like a board file. Literally, we're going to hand sand this from like here to here and keep that taper, but just make sure that we're hitting steel and steel and not any of our body work, to just make that all flat. That's the whole goal of icing, is just to level everything out. So there's your icing. I messed up a little bit here and over here. I did not get as smooth of a coat because I made my mixture too strong. This was the second coat, this was the second formulation I ran out over on this side, which was super buttery smooth. So that should be just fine. Gonna let that sit and dry, maybe do another coat, go a little bit further with it. This needs to wait a little bit so this dries up. I need to do another full coat the whole way and cover all this fiberglass work so it smooths all that stuff out. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was doing there, but you need less drops of activator in there, or hardener, so it doesn't harden so fast. Idiot. So here's our final icing glaze here. Got a little bit wonky there. It's all good. That'll sand down super easily. I will use a real board file for that, so I can make sure all my angles are nice and flat. Otherwise, that's going to come out really, really nice. There's like no waves in it. So I think I did my job, and I'm thinking I'm learning a lot more about bodywork now, thanks to Pole Barn Garage and other YouTube channels like that actually show you what the fuck they're doing. So that's awesome. Passenger fender needs a little bit more blend work. This is a high spot here. Here's a low spot. I mean, maybe some primer filler would fix that. Gotta blend this a little bit better here. But overall, looking way better. Probably just paint like 90% of that fender. It doesn't really matter. Like, I'm going to paint the top surface here, kind of leave the sides. So your eyes are not going to know that it was really painted, since it'll be two different surfaces where the sun is going to hit it. So same kind of deal with this. Really should just paint the whole flat surface, because I need to bodywork here and down here a little bit. Do a little bit of glaze there. But I got this looking pretty smooth. This is going to screw me right here. All the parts that you can see that are shiny like that, those are noticeable spots when it's going to be primed and painted. So I really need to like hammer that with some primer to sort of feather that out and kind of blend it so it's like seamless. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty much just going to put like a tape line from like here all the way here and down, so your eyes don't know that there's a seam, because there's a pretty nice seam here. And I'm going to like feather it in here, feather the clear coat, but there should not be a hard seam there, because I'll be back taping it and doing a couple other methods. So should make it pretty seamless. My bodywork's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. So I will build this stuff up over the next few days and just keep spraying it every chance I get. Let it go. Build it up high enough to where it'll be fine. I think this side turned out a lot better. Hardly see anything in the paint at all. I did put another coat of this high build primer. Hopefully that is going to fill in all the spots pretty nicely. I think it will. If I get like 6 coats on here, I think it'll be perfectly fine to go ahead and paint once it's all dry. But yeah, it obviously matte hides a lot of things, but just from me looking with my eyes here, this looks incredibly flat. I'm very happy with it. This, not so much. I mean, that is what it is, but you know, we'll deal with it. It's not, I mean, this is not a show Jeep. I'm just making it look a little bit nicer than what it was. So It'll be okay. Okay, we got this part sanded down. We got that part sanded down, both fenders. Sorry, I'm trying to talk over my kiddos' show here. I got back here sanded down and here. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna tape off above the line where I sanded down the clear coat so we can try to blend this as smoothly as possible and try to not get overspray on everything else. So I'm gonna try to do that right now, and I'll show you when it's all taped up. I really hate masking off cars when I'm painting, but it saves it from being oversprayed. And the fact that I'm actually using 2K clear coat from spray cans now, kind of have to do it so I don't wreck the rest of everything. So I've got everything masked off, just a rough masking because I'm just going to be in here real tight doing this. So what I'm going to do now is try to get this relatively sealed up, kick my kiddo out of here so she's far away from the paint fumes and she doesn't get anything, and just start spray canning it and see what happens to it. And then we can figure out clear coat afterwards, but I need to find my respirator for this. Don't not wear a respirator when you're spraying. Like, spray paint, urethane is not so bad, but clear coat, do not ever just spray that and not wear a respirator because you can die. So I've got 4 cans of spray here. This is pretty close to an exact match. I've already tested this. I have not tested this. So these are the ones that we're going to use for the bottom coat, and then we can top it off with one of these that we know for sure matches. I got these on 2 separate orders. These went around the country twice to get here. So I don't know what the hell happened with that, but these got here in like 2 days. So start spraying with these ones that I don't know, and then we'll finish with that color. So I just hit this with a little tack cloth just to get any residual stuff. But what I'm going to do is try to start filling in this stuff with light coats to hide all the bodywork, and then afterwards we'll kind of, once this is more masked, we'll blend this in. Probably going to take 5 or 6 coats, but we'll see. So this is matching extremely well, and it's laying down really nice over top of my primer. I'm super thrilled about this. So this paint job should be pretty damn good, my shoddy bodywork aside. But I'm gonna keep going here until all this is covered up, and then we'll hit the whole thing. That way it all matches. Shout out to Spectral Paints on eBay. If you guys have not shopped with them before, here's their website. That is spot on, 100% spot on, and it's gonna look flawless with the clear coat. And these were 35 bucks a can. Having a local shop do this, they were gonna be like $90 or $100 per can and not even get it this close. This is almost an identical match, and you can get it with spray cans. And I've done all of this so far, every body part, 4 times, and I'm still not done with this can. So this goes a long way. Very impressed. I know it's going to be hard to see, but that looks great. I mean, right now it looks all super uneven, which is fine because we're going to feather that out with the clear coat. But dude, this color match is like so freaking good. It's so hard to see on camera. It's not even showing up right. That bums me out. I think the fenders you can see a little bit easier with the sun here. Yeah, I just turned up the exposure a little bit, and I'll turn it down. Look how freaking close that is. Here to here. And this doesn't have clear coat. This is just a urethane base coat. Phenomenal. I'm so impressed. So I think what I'm going to do is, now that I know that all this stuff actually color matches, I'm going to steal the half doors from the red Jeep, and we're going to use them for this thing, and I'm going to paint them to color match, because I'm not buying half doors for $700 to $1,000. It's ridiculous. But if I can color match them for 40 bucks, come on. So now that we've got the base coat all laid down on everything, looks beautiful. I don't have any problems with it. I'm going to let this kind of flash off for like the next 30 minutes. It's about lunchtime. So we'll go in, we'll eat, we'll come back out. And I need to get her super far away from this now, because now is going to be the clear coat time. And that stuff is extremely volatile and very gross. But, dude, this looks amazing. And this is actually like hiding. I know it's flat, so it's urethane base coat. Base coats are flat. This is hiding my bodywork ridiculously well, because my bodywork sucks, and this looks like, it's relatively flat. So I'm hoping with the addition of a nice glossy clear coat, it still hides it, but I don't know. We have a respirator. You need to wear this, very important. And we're gonna start painting. Here goes nothing. Damn thing's in my way. I got a bunch of clear coat on here, and I kind of ran out on this last part of the fender here. Hadn't intended on opening another can of clear coat because I didn't want to waste what I've got. But I started pulling off my masking tape and whatnot, and my seams are still very, very hard seams. There's an obvious transition between where I had the tape, even though it was back taped, versus the original panel. So I didn't do that correctly. So I just kind of took off the masking a little bit around the areas, and I'm just going to kind of dust in a clear coat to kind of sort of blend that in so it's not such a hard seam. So I'm going to go ahead and shake up another can here and get this laid down, and hopefully I can actually correct what I've done. Yikes. So I am all finished. I'm going to start unmasking here in a bit. This looks fantastic. Both fenders turned out better than I had ever even hoped. You can barely even tell that I bodyworked them. A real good body man would be able to see that, but most people, like, that looks pretty damn flat. Color looks great. Clear coat looks amazing. So I biffed it a little bit, and my back taping sucks. My back taping on the fenders is really, really good. It's a nice blended seam. Here, I forgot to remove my masking a little bit too late. So what I had to do was remove my masking entirely and hammer the sections right next to my seams with clear coat. And I'm hoping once I come back through with some wet sandpaper, these need wet sanded anyways, they're terrible orange peel, I can flatten that seam out by just slowly tapering this down to this clear coat. So that'll get rid of that seam. Same up here. I really biffed it on that so hard. I totally forgot. There's a seam right there. That seam right there is just for my shitty bodywork, so please excuse that. And then there's a seam up here. And then there's a seam back here where I actually had to remove that and match paint and clear coat in the same go. And then over here, same deal. You can see the obvious transition, which would have been super smooth had I not lost my sight on what I was doing. And then right here, hopefully this will come up pretty good, but that was pretty flawless transition also. I did a really nice taper on that because I remembered, I was like, oh, well, I'm spraying these with clear coat. I need to just take my masking tape and kind of pull that back. So I just did, and it got overspray on it, blended perfectly. It almost doesn't really need like wet sanded to match because it's already pre-blended, if that makes sense. But pretty damn good. Very happy with that. For Rattle Can clear coat. I mean, it's 2K clear coat. It's an activated clear coat. But damn if that doesn't look good. I'm just hoping once I unmask it actually matches. So I'm gonna start doing that now. So honestly, this color looks pretty damn close to the other color that I got. It's definitely a lot brighter, but this clear coat's also super faded. So it's, and I also, you know, got overspray there, which we'll address later. I can get that with some lacquer thinner once this cures. This is super chipped, obviously. But once you like actually clean this up here, like it's pretty damn close. So that'll look a lot better once I can clean that up and then fill in all the little chips and stuff. This thing is incredibly chipped. Realistically, I should have painted the grill as well, but just more dicking around I didn't want to do. I'm super happy with it. This is going to look fantastic once this thing is all cleaned up. You can just see how much smoother my transitions were here versus here. Freaking bonehead. But all this stuff's off. I'm going to let this kind of cure most of the day, and then I'll come back out here later tonight and start cleaning up a little bit of my stuff here once this finally cures. But I need to get this garage closed because my cat is going to take a waltz right on my fresh paint, and it's going to ruin the whole process. So we're looking at a couple hours after we got it painted. Oh yeah, that's looking great. What a great green color. And then this we kind of feathered in there. This will make that work. Wow. That looks awesome. It looks different. It's more green in person, like a light green in person. My goodness. Gorgeous. Gorgeous color. Super happy with this. For spray paint? Come on. Hoping it's more of an obvious match. Wish I had a light. It doesn't show it good here when it's not on a top reflective surface. But I'm hoping it's more of a closer match than what we got. I think it's more green maybe. It's close. It's not quite it though. I don't know. Maybe that'll change once I drop this. We'll see. Right now, I'm gonna do a little bit of wet sanding on the existing body because I gotta see if I can make a difference with these colors, because this one is like way more green than this, and it is really off. So it doesn't look the best. So I'm gonna maybe see if I can cut and buff the existing colors on it and see if I can brighten this up any. And I don't know, maybe make it look a little bit greener, because that looks terrible. I thought this was a good color match. I guess not. Where's my old little swatch? Oh, did I paint over it? No, it's... I don't know. Maybe it was darker. I don't know. It doesn't... They don't look good side by side, so I gotta try to fix this a little bit. All right, I got this hit down with some 2000 grit after stepping it up, and it's looking a little bit closer now, so that makes me feel a little bit better. So now I'm going to hit this with a buffer, see what I can do with this paint. Maybe try to bring it a little bit closer. Problem is, this is just so damn shiny that I'm sure that it's making this look entirely different, because these, I swear to God that these matched whenever I first sprayed this without the clear coat. So this being not clear coated well anymore, I'm sure is making a huge difference. So I'm gonna get this thing wiped down and mostly dry. I'll hit this with a buffer and hopefully that actually does something. I think it will. Well, wouldn't you know, when I pulled this Jeep outside to get a look at the paint, kind of see how well it blended, you can see that it actually doesn't really blend. Had a mistake here where the paints obviously didn't match. This paint that I got is specifically for 05 to 06 moss green pearl coat, which is closer to the like Jeep green metallic that they started doing in 2007. But the 97, 98 moss green pearl coat does not match the 05 to 06 formulation that most paint companies are using to match. So you'll see that we had to go back through and redo a lot of this to make it all blend and match. Okay, so everything's all done, all the paint's all done. It's cured most of the day. I screwed up, and I had to refog from here all the way over to match, because the paint that I chose matches the 2006 doors, not the 97 rest of the Jeep body. So in order to make this blend and not look stupid, I had to fog all this stuff and just blend everything together. So right now, I'm fighting the weather. I'm going to clear coat this and move on. So I'm doing a much better job in between coats this time, giving myself a timer for this thing. Yeah, it's turning out great. So being that I'm setting a timer and being a little bit more patient, these individual coats of clear coat have more time to off gas and start drying, which means that this should dry much faster than my previous coat on whatever the hell else I was doing. But I also set up my light to help me see uneven areas and whatnot, so it should all be pretty smooth. It should all look pretty good. This is only 3 coats, and this is the first time that I did a heavier coat on this go around. So looks really good. It's blending really good. Should be fine. It should match the whole Jeep better. Honestly, really need to at some point take all this stuff off and repaint all this, but we'll get to it. So I hammered that last coat, and it's got orange peel, but it's on there thick. And I'm honestly super happy with this, super happy with the color. I'm gonna put the doors on. Hopefully this actually blended well. Fingers crossed. So my doors, obviously, it needs buffed. That is a way closer match. It's pretty exact, actually. Look at that. That's gonna look so good once that is buffed. Let's go put the other one on. And just like that, the Jeep is done. Let's take a walk around and see how we actually did once we fixed the paint the correct way and tried to blend it into the rest of the Jeep. The only things that we haven't painted are the hood and the cowl sections in the windshield. So we might actually go back through and paint those later on. But for now, the Jeep looks pretty good. Your eyesight can look from basically here down and see all the same color matches. The light's gonna hit this stuff different than it's gonna hit the hood. since it's a different elevation and stuff. So let's take a walk around, see how we did. So we blended everything from all this stuff to match with the door, painted all the way up to here. Much better. This is where we cut off our clear coat, so we'll have to blend these two together with the clear coat. But that can all be done with cutting and buffing. Pretty good. I'm happy with that. It's finally all matched. Looks really good. Really nice green color that came out of this. I totally forgot to fix this section, so I'll have to come back later and do that. This section here is in the dark, so it's going to be a little bit harder to see. But it matched pretty good. Just need to cut and buff everything to just smooth everything out, but yeah. As you can see, the scenery has changed a little bit. I'm doing this video after the fact because I thought it would maybe be a good idea to do a decent price breakdown on basically what you can expect of doing this stuff all yourself. So we're going to start off with the price breakdown for the total amount that I spent on this whole Jeep to get it running and just going as of right now. So in all the videos, we have the $600 Jeep, first of all. Then we've got that extra tub with the title, VIN tag, all that stuff. Came with motor, transmission, all that stuff. We bought that for $200. Now I can take all that stuff and resell it and get my money back and then some to pay for this other stuff. But right now we'll just put up here $200 since I haven't completely sold that. But the option is still there that I can actually make money off of that and probably profit maybe $400. Then we have $420 for the doors. Bit of an expense. I got those at a local junkyard to me that actually had that color of Jeep. That color Jeep is pretty hard to find, especially finding full hard doors that are not rotted. And that's just a rare color in general. So it kind of bit me in the ass, and they were the only place that had them. But I wanted to have hard doors versus half doors for my Jeep. The soft top that I put on there, I got that soft top used, and with all the brackets and everything that I ended up getting back from the other Jeep, the whole top with all the bowing and everything was basically $100. So we'll factor that in. For all the sensors and stuff that we replaced, throttle position sensor and things like that, IAC, those were about $70, and we'll add another $30 in there just for miscellaneous stuff. We ended up putting a new exhaust manifold gasket on there, so I forgot to factor that in. So we'll just add $100 for that stuff total to make it decent. No, it's more than that. I'm over here forgetting. I had O2 sensors. Okay, so we'll restart that. We have about $130 in sensors because I forgot about the O2 sensors that I had to buy, plus the IAC, plus the throttle position sensor. And then we have that $20 manifold gasket, which is pretty inexpensive. Didn't fix it. I think we have a hole in our exhaust manifold, which sucks, so we'll have to replace that. To do the whole exhaust was basically free, with the exception of like some exhaust couplers that I had to use, which a lot of the stuff I already had sitting on my shelf from previous exhaust stuff. So we'll just factor in about $15 for different couplers and whatnot. And then the optional thing that I did is, I don't know if I really showed it in the video, we have $140 in carpet. Now, it's used carpet, but I wanted to get the factory molded carpet. And there's this guy over in Ohio, he's about 2.5 hours away or so, lists a bunch of stuff on eBay. I've been buying tons of things from him for this Jeep, and we got the carpet kit from him. And after I cleaned it up and washed it and everything, it was pretty clean. So $140 well spent for factory carpet that is really, really nice. I'll take it. For the new seats that I swapped in. Now this is like another optional thing, but just to make this Jeep the way that I wanted it to, I paid $100 for those vinyl seats. I could not believe that I found those things for $100. So once I got them home, I sanded them down and repainted them. And the one seat, the driver's seat that I got, had a big old nasty hole in the bottom of the seat. So I went on eBay and actually found a brand new vinyl seat cover. I think it's actually leather. And that was $167. And I redid the bottom seat cover because it was so torn up, and I don't like sitting on crappy seats. And boy, is it nice and plush now. So that was actually a really good idea. To paint all those seats was about $90, and I used SEM Camel, and that color matches like the Spice interior nearly identically. So that if you guys have Spice interiors, use SEM Camel color and it'll match your stuff almost completely perfect. For the floor pans, we had about $98 in floor pans. For the tub mounts, those are about $95. For the new body mounts and bushings that I unfortunately had to buy, it was about $121 from Summit Racing. I did like a Crown Automotive special. I had like $10 in bolts for that because the new tub mounts the bolts were not factory anymore. They required a different like metric bolt, which actually kind of pissed me off, but it is what it is. The wheels and tires that I put on there, those are basically reused from like the other 5 Jeeps that I had redone. So, I mean, they're kind of free right now. They've already paid for themselves. But if you're going to factor that in, about $500 or $600 maybe, but I'm not going to factor that in because I might change them anyway, so I don't really know. And then for the paint and clear coat, so I used the Moss Green Pearl Coat urethane base coat with a 2K clear coat. I think I used 2.5 cans of the urethane base coat, and I used like 4 or 5 cans of the clear coat. So it's roughly about $150 in spray paint, and that's pretty damn good for coming out of spray cans, and it turned out really nice, as you can see. I still have yet to sand it and buff it, but that's what we have there. So our total price breakdown is $2,456. Now, I know that kind of seems like a lot, especially for buying a 2.5, and well, Riley, you had to put all your time in it and basically redo it yourself. I did, but now it's completely rust free from all that stuff. There's no rot anymore in there. I basically have a brand new paint job on the entire thing, and it's the way that I want it to be, and it's clean now. So I can adjust from there, and it is more than I would like to have in a 2.5. But around Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, New York area, dude, you can't find a clean Jeep anymore. Like, you can't find a clean Jeep for $5,000 that's not rusty or anything like that. So knowing that I did it and knowing that I put my craftsmanship in it, granted I cut a little bit of corners, but I made it as good as it's going to get, and it's as rust-free as it's going to get for what I can possibly do and have the patience to do. So if I bought another Jeep for $3,000 or $4,000, that's, even a 4.0 or whatever, I'm still going to have to do rust repair on it. So we're still going to have all these costs factored in as well as my time. So would it have been advantageous to buy a 4.0? Probably, yeah. But I'm happy with the 2.5 for now, and if I want to really swap a 4.0 in there, I have the capability of doing it. I have a whole garage, I can do everything. I can buy a donor vehicle that's more rusted out, that's not fixable, with like no title, to do that swap with. So it's in the future. I want to do something. I don't think I want to keep the 2.5. I haven't really driven this Jeep much other than up and down the road so far. So once I get this thing inspected, now that all the rust is fixed, I'm going to see if the 2.5 is up to my snuff. I doubt it because it's got the 3-speed automatic transmission, which is super anemic and very slow. So yeah. And we've also got some more things on the horizon as far as like a Dana 44 swap. As you can see probably in one part of my video, I have a Dana 44 sitting on a pallet there. I need to get the spider gears rebuilt, and we can revisit the cost breakdown on another video. But that's what we have so far, $2,500 basically for a Jeep TJ. That's the way that I want it to be, and now it's rust free. And I made good content making the video, yeah, I'm all for it. So that's gonna wrap up this video series on the Jeep. I have a lot more mods to do this thing. I have like 30 boxes sitting around here for different things that I wanna do. But in the following videos, we'll cut and buff this thing, we'll start putting it back together, and then we'll start putting on all the other just little trinkets, modifications, and whatnot to finally complete this thing. But yeah, thanks for sticking around, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys like the Jeep TJ content. I really like these things. I didn't know how much I would like them until I actually got one. It's quirky, it's unique, it's I can see why people just regard this as one of the best Jeep Wranglers ever made. It's really cool. I used to have a JK. I like this a little bit more. So thank you guys for watching so much. We'll see you next time.